not playing this game. I just went to it, just as background. I can't. Well, okay. I was gonna say I can't believe what Naughty Dog did with The Last of Us Part 2, but I really can. Cause I was kind of calling this out like years ago. Just the way Naughty Dog was acting really on social media. It's pretty easy to see that this game was gonna be pretty heavily politicized, I would say. And I was disappointed when I first saw the leaks back in like late April, early May. I think I saw them in early May. I didn't see them initially. Oh no, I think I did. It just took a few days, yeah. So, for the people that don't want to get spoiled, I'm just gonna tell you what it is right now. Don't watch the rest of this. But also, I don't think any normal person's watching my shit. It's only fucking weirdos who really hate me that are watching my stuff. I was going through my fucking analytics, and I'm getting like all these fucking views, and I haven't streamed in over a fucking month. What the hell is that coming from? I'm not putting my shit out anywhere whatsoever. I never do, never have. That probably never will. That's why I don't even bother editing my shit, really. Putting these nice kind of titles, besides this one, I guess. But I was pretty disappointed when I saw the death scene of Joel. I was like, wow, they fucking killed him. And I was like, okay. At first I was like, well, sure, I guess. I mean, everyone kind of felt that was going to happen, especially looking at the trailers of The Last of Us Part 2. But then you find out it's to the daughter of the doctor you kill at the end of The Last of Us. Which is stupid, because you literally can't get past that. The game forces you to kill him. It's actually one of the few people the game forces you to fucking kill. Forces you to kill him, David. I'm talking about endgame as well, not so much cutscenes, because then the other one would be what's that guy's name? Derek? I don't remember. But honestly, there's not many people the game really forces you to kill. You can honestly kind of just sneak around a lot of people. It'd be pretty hard, but it's really doable. All those people in the military truck when they're hunting you with Henry and Sam just before Sam gets bitten. So I saw that shit and I was just like, man, this is the dumbest shit ever, man. And I was really hyped for buying the game, and I was pretty certain this was gonna happen, and that's why I wasn't gonna buy the game on launch. I was gonna wait like maybe till the end of the week, or maybe at the most till the end of the month, but I was gonna buy it the month it came out. The Last of Us Part 2. I was actually gonna buy it bare minimum the month it comes out, because I was actually excited for it. And then I saw that, and all the excitement just was just gone. But then little by little I started getting excited again as the time got closer. And there wasn't any more leaks really, except that initial one, until this month. And then with this month, more leaks started coming out, because you know, people started getting their hands on the game, reviewers and all this other shit. And more leaks came out, I think the week before or the week of the game releasing. No, this week or last week. And wow, it just got so much worse, dude. It just got so much worse, because everyone was fucking screaming, oh, you gotta look at the context. And it's like, sure, but that doesn't change the fact that this bitch comes out of nowhere. And then we find out Joel dies actually pretty early into the game. He dies about 2 hours into the game. Sorry. Depends on how fast you play. An hour and a half to 2 hours and a half, 2.5 hours. Man, out of like a 30-hour game, unless you like speed run the shit out of it, just going through as fast as you fucking can. Yeah, I mean That's retarded. And then I saw just like what was like just I think Wednesday I saw the ending for the game. And wow. Holy shit, is the ending bad. So again, I'm going through the spoilers. But yeah, Abby kills Joel after Joel saved her. And then at the end, when Ellie's about to murder Abby by drowning her in the fucking water, she bites off 2 of her fucking fingers. And then Ellie keeps trying to choke her, like drown her in the fucking ocean. They're in like Santa Barbara on the beach, and she's like drowning her. And she has like a little flashback, little just picture of Joel in her head, and she lets her go. Now I'm gonna explain why, because a lot of people don't understand why she lets her go. Now I'm not defending it, I'm not excusing it, I'm just explaining it. She let Abby go because the thing that she thought of, it was only for a brief moment. She thought of like a little, kind of like a picture of Joel, not an actual picture, but his face kind of like just pops up in her head. And she lets Abby go, and this is after Abby just even though Abby killed Joel and bit off 2 of her fingers now, she just let her go. But so what happens is towards the end of the actual, pretty much at the end of the game, because the last ending, it's like 10 minutes fucking long, man, of just cutscenes you're watching. But you get to see that Ellie just kind of, she already confronted Joel earlier in the game, or between The Last of Us 1 and The Last of Us Part 2, because you see it in a flashback. That's the only time Joel really comes up, is in flashbacks. But you get to see how Ellie went up to Joel, and they had a little bit of a moment where Ellie kind of says, I don't think I could ever forgive you for taking away for not allowing me to die at the hands of the Fireflies to possibly create a vaccine. And but she says, you know, but I would like to try to forgive you. And they have like kind of a bit of a heartfelt moment. Not really, it's very awkward. It seems like there's a lot of tension in the scene, and it kind of ruins it because they're not really looking at each other, but they're talking to each other still. It's really fucking weird. Like Joel can't put his fucking cup of coffee down and maybe give Ellie a hug or something like that. I don't know, it's fucking weird. But anyway, so she thinks of that, about how upset she was at Joel, but she wants to forgive him. And that's what I'm gonna guess why she let Abby go, is because she thought about how wrong she was, or how she feels by Joel, and how she wanted to forgive him. So I guess why can't she do the same thing for Abby? Which to me is fucking retarded. One, because in the game, like when Joel tells her what happened, she was just so mad. And in my head, I was just like, why are you so upset at him? Because I watched all the cutscenes. Just to say, like, from the very beginning, everything. I watched everything. I would suggest going to Gamers Little Playground here on YouTube, just looking at all the cutscenes there, because they pretty much have all the dialogue and for sure all the cutscenes. So it's actually really good. So I watched and heard everything. Oh, wasted my day on that shit. 8 hours of fucking cutscenes. I was like, holy shit, dude. But anyway, so that was so stupid. But I wanted to watch all the cutscenes because I really wanted to give this game one last chance to convince me. I'm gonna say what I would score it if I used a 0 to 10 really point scale. I would rate this as a 1. And it's less because of the game, and more because of how Naughty Dog and Sony acted in this whole leak ordeal. Normally I wouldn't include what a game company does outside of what their game is to rate their game. But Naughty Dog is a very big company, has a big reputation. Sony is a big company, has a big reputation. And this game people been waiting for this sequel for 7 fucking years. 7 years. People have been waiting for this fucking sequel 7 fucking years, since 2013. And I was one of those people. After I finished watching it, because I didn't have the game originally, I watched a playthrough of it. I was one of those people. I was excited. I was like, I want to see more. I want to see more of The Last of Us The Last of Us, really. Just anything and everything. I wanted to see more. So when they came out, like in 2016, 17, saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna release the game," I was so excited. Yeah. But with Sony and Naughty Dog DMCAing YouTubers and just everybody's kind of videos or anything related to The Last of Us Part 2, even if they didn't show leaks or even talk about the leaks, like they didn't say what was in the leaks, but just kind of talked about it, getting DMCA'd, that wasn't good to me. Let me look. There was a good picture that I saw online that kind of goes over everything that Naughty Dog did really bad. But it's just like that alone right there is incredibly bad to me. The fact that they're illegally doing that, they did that illegally. Here it is, the picture. Deceptive marketing. That's another thing. They straight up lied in the fucking trailers to show that Joel was in the game, but he's not. They straight up lied in it. And it's in so many points. I would say that's really a legitimate false advertising, because it's not like it misdirected you. No, it straight up lied. It just straight up lied. Like the scene in one of the trailers where Ellie's like, "What are you doing here?" And then it was Joel, and he said, "You wouldn't think I would let you do this alone, did you?" That's not Joel there. It shows fucking Jesse. It's stupid. But those two big things, it's pretty bad. And then how Sony is cracking down hard on their own kind of like domestic game developers in Japan about the games they make and how they like censor the shit out of them in terms of like women's bodies and what's like allowed and what's not. And they allowed a sex scene in The Last of Us Part 2. And those are two dudes. I don't give a shit what you say. Abby is a fucking dude. Like, what the fuck? That bitch has no tits. And it was like, just, you could see. Dude, it's just... Hold on. But it's terrible. Everything that they did. So I would include that. Only because of how big of a presence Naughty Dog and Sony has. Everything that they did wrong and illegal, DMCAing people, even though they had every legal right to whatever they were going to put up on YouTube, because they didn't show any leaks. I don't even think it's illegal to show leaks of a fucking game. It's not illegal to show leaks of somebody's fucking like emails and stuff. Only the leaker could be held liable for that, I believe. But anyone viewing it, it is not illegal to view it. It is only illegal to leak it, I believe. So, with that, all that shit, it's a 1 out of 10, straight up. Or I should say 0, but whatever. 1 to 10 score, it's a 1. That shit is so corrupt, and it was a fucking illegal what they did. I don't even think I'm gonna buy a PS5 at this point. The only way I'd buy a PS5, well, I'd probably wait on a pretty deep sell, I don't know. But for sure, the only way I'd buy a PS5 the year it comes out is if it had backwards compatibility on the PS3, and that's just too much work for these fucking idiots to do. Because that's all I really want to play. Fuck the PS4 generation. This generation sucks dick. I spent most of my time playing this fucking game, which is a PS3 fucking game remastered for the PS4. I want to go back and just play the games I have on PS3. That's it. Fuck the PS4 backwards compatibility shit. I don't really care all that much about it. But so I saw the whole story from beginning to end. And honestly, it was pretty good. Besides the major plot points. Major plot point, or major characters, really. Ellie becomes completely unlikable. Her whole character changes into like a shitbag. And Abby's just... I don't know, she's not a great character, but she's not really bad. She's just interesting, you know? Just interesting, you know? not good, not somebody you're like rooting for, or you like, or you're happy to see. It's just like she's just interesting you. At least I was interested, and not like completely enthralled, not by any sense of. Actually, no, I wouldn't even say interesting, because there was a point where I was just like, all right, dude, like I want to get back to Ellie. Like this shit is going on way too long. This shit with her, I would say she's a less than interesting character, and that's the only way I can really like describe it. But this game, man, like just it actually had a lot of good points for writing, but then some points were so bad, and some of the characters they just there's some little things that they did wrong, but all the big things was handled so terribly, so terribly. All the character deaths were just like stupid and quick, and it just had no gravity to it. It was just like, yeah, Joel's dead now. See ya. His was like the biggest one that has gravity, but that one just felt kind of stupid. Like you don't know who the fuck Abby is, and you don't really care about her. Then you learn her backstory, and you care even less. Her father's like a piece of shit, retarded man-child, who's like not. He didn't seem serious about the world, and it was just kind of like, except about having such a hard-on to murder Ellie. And it was so stupid. It was like, why couldn't you just give Joel and Ellie one last day? The way The Last of Us Part 1 ended and everything to me was good. It showed that they didn't care. Nothing else mattered. It was their way or nobody's way. And it was really kind of shown in the game with their like excessive, I don't want to say excessive, just their fighting that they had with the government in The Last of Us Part 1. Fedra, whatever the fuck their name was. I don't even remember. Because if you remember, Joel and Marlene... No, Marlene is the Fireflies. What was Joel's girlfriend or whatever his name in Part 1? I can't even remember her name, to be honest. To me, she was such a throwaway character. Only on like when I played it again and kind of watched the game again that I kind of just see how she had more importance. But honestly, she didn't have all that much. Tess. But Tess and Joel were walking through the checkpoint and they almost fucking murdered them. Joel actually got hurt from that. Like they didn't even care about that. There's nobody who walked in front of them, I believe. It was just soldiers. But instead of just kind of watching out to make sure they didn't get any civilians, they didn't care. To them, it was only about their message. And that's it. Nobody else fucking matters except their fucking message and what they want to do, which is control and power. That's all it was. Simple as that. Because how were they... Because I already talked about this, but how were they going to disseminate a vaccine? They have no vehicles, really. Or it didn't look like it. Or else Marlene wouldn't have said how she lost like half her people crossing the country. They're not that good because, again, they lost half their people crossing the country. And all Joel really lost was... Sorry about that. But all Joel really lost was just... I mean, I guess you could say Tess, Henry, and Sam. You could say that, but he only started with Tess. I'm not really counting Sam and Henry because they weren't really down with them as much as, like, just really at all. Like, you saw how they ditched them when the ladder broke, when they were trying to escape that one place. I forget what it's called in The Last of Us. But Tess was, and she died. But it's just, the Fireflies seem pretty selfish. They just want power, and they don't care about anything else. And they had no real infrastructure to dispense a vaccine, even if they created one. And that'd be a very, very small chance that they actually created one. Especially one as complex as that one. One where it was just, like... The way it could just like control people and evolve and stuff, like no fucking way. Like that seems like a pretty like evolved, like I mean a complex kind of virus or whatever disease. Because one thing I'll say is this: it reminded me of it's not CS gas, but I mean that's what it is called, but tear gas. There's actually a very small percent of people in the world that aren't affected by it. It doesn't burn their eyes or skin. It doesn't make them cough or anything else like that. And you bet your ass, if they could replicate that to put it into other people so it doesn't affect them, the military would do that. 110%, they would do that shit. But they don't, because they can't. So if our government now can't do that shit, or maybe they don't want to, who knows, whatever. Corrupt bastards. What makes you think that this small group of people with one real scientist. Because in The Last was part 2, it confirmed he was the only real doctor who could make a vaccine. One dude working on it by himself, pretty much. How would one dude create a vaccine? Even if that guy lived and Ellie died, by the time The Last of Us Part 2 takes place 4 years later, he wouldn't have even created a vaccine by then. It just, oh my gosh. Like, honestly, like, a lot of the little story bits worked out really good. And the side characters were a lot better. I thought I wouldn't like Dina, but I actually liked her a lot. I actually like Dina and Jesse. A lot of the side characters, they just felt better than the main characters. Abby just, like I said, was less than interesting. She was just kind of there in some ways. I mean, I wouldn't say that. She was very much more engaging than just that. She wasn't like a background character, but she wasn't all that interesting. All I can say is she's a piece of shit for what she did with fucking Owen, because that dude has a girlfriend that's pregnant. She fucked him. Oh my, that sex scene, oh my god, that's like, oh, that was a nightmare. Oh, I want to fucking throw up thinking about that nasty shit, dude. Like, to me, it was fucking ridiculous. Honestly, The Last of Us Part 2, man. I called this shit years ago because I was like, I knew they weren't gonna get it right the second time. And I would say I'm mostly right. I'm not gonna say I'm completely right. No, I would say I'm right. Because honestly, the little points that are good in this game is mostly the voice acting. It was very compelling. It was very believable. The writing itself was just stupid. Like, Lev, just like a fucking transsexual, tranny, whatever. In the post-apocalyptic world, really. And especially in the way that bitch was raised in. You had time and just, you felt like, I don't believe that. I just really fucking don't. And then Abby, like, that's a dude. I would count him as a trans as well, because I mean, that's a straight up dude. Because I'm telling you, that bitch had no tits. It was all peck. Oh my god, I can't believe they showed that too, dude. Just anyways, it was nothing but pecs. And I would just say this: the people that bought the game without looking at the leaks, I'm sorry, you're dumb as hell. I'm honestly gonna say that you're really dumb, especially if somebody told you to watch the leaks first, just a little bit, just to see, so you can know what you're gonna get into. You're dumb, and if you don't like the game and you wasted money on it, you deserve it. Because some people like you will only learn the hard way, so that's on you. Especially with no multiplayer on that shit. Fuck no. The gameplay looked better than this, The Last of Us, but I mean, honestly, Part 2's gameplay didn't look. Whoa! I mean, it looked pretty good, the little flashy things, because it shows you all the flashy things off the bat. But then you see the actual gameplay, and it's just like, oh, honestly, it's really not all that different. It's really not. It's just an improvement. Not a big improvement or a slight one, it's just an improvement. That's all. But a lot of the writing, I would say, or a lot of the characters and the voice and the acting and stuff is actually really good. The writing itself and the characters they created was stupid. Like, you could take out a lot of the shit. Like, you could take out the whole fucking transsexual shit with Lev, and it would be pretty different. One, because that is actually pretty critical to the core of that character. But I don't know, it's just how they handled Joel in general was just so terrible. The fact that they killed him by a fucking nobody, really, in the beginning, pretty much 2 hours of the game. How it makes you play as the bitch that kills him. Like, I wouldn't want to play as her. The friends that she has aren't all that interesting. It's just kind of like, I'll see what happens, but I don't want to play as her. But I want to know what's kind of going on with her. And then the ending where you just let Abby go, like honestly, for a little bit when I was watching like the game, I kind of wanted to get the game. Because I'm being completely honest here. But then I watched the ending again, because I watched it all the way through to completion, all the way to the last second of the video, and when the guy's doing his own outro and shit. As soon as I saw the ending again, I was like, yeah, nope, I'm good. There's so much about the game that was just failed. The music It has like no taste. It has no flavor. It didn't have that presence as it did in The Last of Us, the first one, man. Like in the first one, like I'm not really one to focus on the music unless it just really has a presence, like it does in Halo or in Mario, like Nintendo type games, like pretty much all of them. That has a really good presence because it's just so good and it really fits with the game, and you can't block it out because it's with it. It's like eating spaghetti without the sauce. It's just like, what are you eating? You're just eating fucking pasta at that point, dude. Just some fucking boring ass pasta. Because in those games, like in Mario and the Nintendo games and Halo and God of War and the first Last of Us, like you cannot have that game without the music. Like it's that integral, I would say, to me. Like it's just, say, like when I'm fucking playing as Kratos in God of War and that fucking music starts popping off, like whatever the fuck it is, I don't know what kind of genre that shit is. It's amazing, and it gets you pumped the fuck up. Halo, it kind of gets you pumped up as well. It gets you excited, I would say. I wouldn't, pumped up to me is just like kill mode, but it gets you excited in Halo. And fucking Nintendo games, it just gets you happy, you know? You just get kind of excited as well to play, and you're just happy because the music is just so good. And Nintendo, that's one thing Nintendo really has. I'm not really all too much into their games, to be honest. That's what those games feel like. It feels like Call of Duty, where it's just the same thing again and again and again every fucking year. But the music is just undeniable. It's just amazing. So when The Last of Us Part 2 came out and I was just watching it, there's no single thing I can really remember from their music. And the first Last of Us, I mean, I can remember all this shit. But and Part 2 just, I don't know, it took a back seat. Just straight up, it didn't enhance any of the scenes. It didn't jump out. It didn't really do anything at all. It was just there, dude. And I don't even know what to say. It was just there. That's it. That's all I really can say, I think. I don't know. To me, all it really had was the graphics and animation. But I would say I would put those together because it kind of just feels like the same thing in a lot of ways. But sure, let's split them as two. So graphics and animation. Everything else really wasn't all that. I mean, the voice acting too. The voice acting, graphics, and animation. So I can give those each one a point, and it could go up to 3 out of 10, sure. But the story is what you really play The Last of Us for. The story and the voice acting. Because it's a pretty cliched story in the first one and this one, but the voice acting was so good, like you just didn't care. Like it had you fucking so, it was so enthralling, the voice acting. It was just so believable. It was so fucking good. Like you just, I don't know, like you felt it. And in this one, the voice acting is really good. It really did get you immersed into it. And I really was, because to me, the way I know if a story's like engaging, or at least if the acting is very believable, I should say, is if I'm thinking to myself as if these characters are real. And there was moments, but only towards the end of the game, that I really feel like that. I kind of felt like that in the beginning, but it got stronger towards the end of the game. It didn't start off the bat though like it did like the first Last of Us. I'm not buying this game though. I wouldn't really suggest anyone else to buy it. Any criticism of the game, you're labeled as a bot or a misogynist, homophobe, or anything else like that, but I don't know, people can do what they want. You want to buy this trash game just to stick it to other people who don't like this game, go ahead, throw your $60 down the drain. Matter of fact, buy the biggest fucking edition. Give as much money as you can to Naughty Dog, because they're gonna fucking need it. If you can, buy the Ellie edition game. Buy all that shit, you know? Who cares? Whatever. Do whatever with your fucking money. Far be it from me to tell you what to do. But man, the game is trash. 110% unmitigated trash. It's a bit extreme because there are some things I like about the game, like I said, the story, but at the same time, the major points of the game is just done so terribly. Like, they don't act like themselves whatsoever. Like, Ellie was talking about how in Boston there was like people starving and shit like that, and people weren't able to eat. And I was like, what? She didn't even see that. She didn't even experience that. Joel told her about that. And The Last of Us, the first one. He told her about that. She never saw it and she never experienced it. That was her reaction when she saw, like, the sign was saying, give us food or something like that, or give us our food. I don't remember what it said. It was like some graffiti. And then she was just like, why would they be asking for their food, you know? I mean, everyone got their food. She said something like that. And Joel was like, well, no, not all the time. You know, a lot of times people didn't eat, you know? He said something to that effect. I don't remember exactly. I don't remember where in the game that scene happened. But I remember that. For some reason, I remember that scene. So when she talked about it in this game, and The Last of Us Part 2, it was early on with Dina, with her and Dina, when they're like at Fedra looking for all the stuff, when they're like trying to track down Abby. And she talked about that. I was like, you weren't even there. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, if she had said, oh, Joel told me this. Yeah, but the way she talked about it, like as if she knew it. I was like, what the hell? And just Joel and Tommy and how, like, what they did to survive. Remember, Tommy has nightmares about the shit him and Joel did to survive. Because it affected him that deeply. Joel, just off the bat, doesn't trust people. Simple as that. And he was even apprehensive of Ellie at the beginning of the fucking game. But the thing is, though, he just doesn't trust them. Like, he didn't trust, like, Sam and Henry. And he only trusted Henry as soon as he saw Sam, because he noticed none of the hunters have kids around. And he doesn't really go out of his way to try to save people. So when he saved... Oh my gosh. Let me just... So, remember in The Last of Us, where those two people got gunned down, the one lady was begging for her life, and then the guy came up, blew her fucking brains out with the shotgun? And they took their shoes, but they were worn out, so they left them, I think. And it was like Sam and Henry's, like, rest of his party. He didn't try to save those people, because he knew they couldn't really be saved. So why did he save Abby in this situation? And reality, which would have got him killed if Abby hadn't talked about the lodge. In that situation, if she didn't have anybody else, apparently, according to Tommy, they can't outrun that big ass crowd, even though they got killed in 2 mollies. Anyways, they couldn't have outran the whole, like, fucking horde. And that would have ended with their deaths, apparently, or some shit like that. Why did he save Abby then? That's not something he would have done off the bat. He wouldn't have also said his name. Neither would Tommy have. Nor would they have told them where they are. Maybe they would have given them some supplies. Maybe that, but just that. Nothing else. The fact that they're in the outskirts, Tommy should have been mistrustful of them, thinking maybe these are people that are going to try to steal their shit and attack them, like they were attacked in the first Last of Us. So, just all this shit just doesn't fit. The way Ellie acts is just like the opposite. There's no charm. There's no bonding. Not bonding. There's no, like, you don't like her. I don't know what you call it when you start to like a character more. Because when in real life, that's like bonding. I don't know what the fuck you'd call it for, like, a book or a movie or a video game. But there's no point where you can, like, you really start to like her more. There's almost none of that there at all. There's no charm. There's nothing. And there are parts I laughed at in the game of The Last of Us Part 2. Some of it were jokes. They actually had some good jokes. I can't remember off the top of my head. There's one with Abby and Liv. I don't really remember. And the other half time I laughed was just like it was inappropriate, but it was just so stupid. The game's just not worth it. The more I think about it, the more I realize the game's not worth it. And I'm so happy I saw those leaks. I mean, granted, I would have not bought this game anyways, because I would have waited like I normally would, like I normally do now for video games. And then I kind of just, I started to watch the first few hours, and if I like what I see, I'll either just buy it or I'll watch the whole playthrough, and then I'll buy it and then I'll experience it for myself, because I'm okay with that. That doesn't really spoil it for me. Man, this game just, it's so bad, honestly. Just, and to me, the violence and the excessive killing. Okay, so that's another thing. Since I watched on Gamers Little Playground, they cut out a lot of the bullshit. They cut out a lot of just looking around and killing enemies if there's no dialogue or really nothing to progress the story. So he cut a lot of that stuff out, and it only ended up being a little less than 9 hours. Like 8 hours and 54 minutes, something like that. One of the big complaints of The Last of Us Part 2 though is how long it is, because it could have been shortened. Because there's a lot of just all this fighting and shit like that. Like on one part of the point, I saw a review, is just like there's like a side quest where you do something what feels like a side quest with Abby, and that's true. It feels like a side quest. Fucking Yara, which is like the sister of Lev, which is like the friends of Abby. She got her arm shattered. It's the girl from the trailer where they're like clipper wings and that dude like shatters her fucking forearm. So you need to get some shit for her. And apparently that takes like around 10 hours, and that's almost all of the whole playthrough of Abby. It's just kind of that. It's like 90% of it. Which it really is, or close to 90%. Because the only other bit is where you go get Lev from their island that they're on after he like murdered his fucking mother. So stupid. Oh my gosh, the way fucking Yara died. It was just like, it's the epitome. Her and Jesse's death is the epitome of how these characters die. The way Jesse died, like they went to go try to help Tommy because they heard him struggling in the next room because Abby like found where they are because stupid ass Ellie dropped the map or left the map after she just got done murdering 2 of Abby's friends. Anyways, so fucking Ellie and Jesse, that Asian dude, bust through the room, through these doors, and off the bat, fucking Jesse's head just explode. Well, it doesn't explode. He just gets shot in the fucking face off the bat, right under his fucking eye, on his cheekbone, just off the bat, murdered. It was stupid. It was like the last Predator movie that came out, Predator or The Predator. Yeah, stupid as hell. Where that black dude, they were in the forest and they were like trying to kill the Predator because it was hunting them, and he turns and the fucking plasma cannon that he has on his fucking shoulder blows his own fucking head off. It was like that. It was just like, really? That's it? That's how you die? Just in a really retarded way? Okay, sure. It was like that. And it was almost the same with Yara. Almost. Abby was protecting Lev from like the main boss of the kind of group she's in. His name is Isaac, and he kept telling her to stand aside or else he's gonna shoot her, and then he's gonna shoot the little girl behind him. And Yara had just gotten shot earlier by one of the people that's in the group of Abby, and so she's on the ground. No one's really paying attention to her. And then when the guy's about to shoot Abby, it looks like he's about to shoot him. She shoots him, pretty much kills him off the bat, just one shot. And everyone's like, what the fuck? And then they immediately look down, and it was her. She's holding the gun up. And they blast the shit out of her. Like RoboCop 1 style. When he became RoboCop, they blasted it was like, holy shit. Normally, I don't really talk about the brutality of games really all that much. The only time I'd really talk about it is God of War 3. Because damn, that one was a bit uncomfortable. There's only really 2 times I really felt like 2 games that made me feel uncomfortable with the brutality or violence. The big one is Grand Theft Auto 5, the torture scene. I didn't like doing that at all. That made me uncomfortable, actually. Like or also Modern Warfare 2's the airport. I kind of felt uncomfortable, but at the same time, I was just shooting those people. I was like, whatever. Because that one didn't feel as personal as the torture scene. Grand Theft Auto 5, that one felt really personal. And God of War 3 is the same thing. It's personal. You're doing it to one person. You're not doing it to a group of people, and it's not a quick death either. it's like torturing them the way Kratos would kill them. You know, like how he cut off the guy's legs. I forget the guy's name. Hermes? I don't remember his name. It's the dude that ran fast with the fucking wings on his. He had the fleece or the fleet. I don't remember. How he cut off his fucking legs though, or he poked out the eyes of Poseidon, or he put Poseidon's daughter under that fucking wheel thing. I was like, dude, what the fuck? I was pretty upset that Kratos did that. I was like, did you really have to murder her too? Really? Just, what the hell was that? I was pretty upset about that. I was like, alright, dude, whatever. I didn't like when Kratos would kill innocent people, but that's his character. He's pretty much like the anti-hero. Just fucking ruins shit for everybody. He inadvertently does good stuff, but not because it's to do the right thing. It's just because that's what's convenient for him, you know? It's just that. He does it out of convenience, not because of morals or character. But in this game though, like, it doesn't really feel all that dark in a lot of ways. A lot of people complained about that. That scene was the only one where I felt like, holy shit, and I rewinded it a couple of times just to watch how they lit her up, and it was honestly pretty dark. That to me is the darkest part of the game. And it's not Joel getting tortured, because you don't really get to see that. You don't really get to see his head fucking explode open. You do see kind of the damage Abby's done right before she fucking does the final blow and fucking murders him. You don't get to see Ellie torture any of the people. You get to see her kill him, but it's really not too gruesome, you know? I mean, you're kind of used to that in The Last of Us Part 1 in a lot of ways, I would say. Oh, that little, just Yara, just this little Asian girl on the ground just getting lit the fuck up by like 7 people. I don't know how many it was. And just, you can see her face. She's there. She's like conscious. And then just get lit up and she just goes dead in the eyes. Like, you can just see that. So that's why I said the graphics and animation is really good in The Last of Us Part 2. But when you see that, it's like, oh shit, dude, like, damn. I would never tell them to take that out though. I mean, it is what it is. Like, when I watch war movies, I don't like when they fucking like PG-13, make it all PG-13 where there's not blood and gore and well, not, they'll put blood in, but they won't make it gory. And it's just like, war is just straight up hell, man. You need to show like people's limbs flying off, because that's accurate. It's an accurate portrayal of when you're if you want to see like something serious when it comes to war. That's why I always hated the Furious movie, because like that one building explodes. Just real quick sidetrack, when that dude, like, I guess he loses his virginity, or he just meets that one girl he really likes, that one dude who's new to the group that had the typewriter, and then they the building that the girl that he just fucked got bombed and he goes through the rubble, finds her somehow. I don't know how. He barely goes through any rubble. I don't know if she was just looking outside the window just for whatever fucking reason, just so she was like on the outer edge of the rubble. I don't know how. And she's just dirty. There's no blood or anything. Her face like isn't fucking ripped apart. There's no blood. She's all in one piece. And in my head I was like, dude, just dust that bitch off. She's just taking a nap. She's good to go. Cause it was like, dude, she should have been blown to fucking bits. It was it wasn't a big building, but it was a building nonetheless. And it just got hammered into the ground, dude. I was like, holy shit. So when I saw her whole, I was like, fuck this movie. This is retarded. I thought that was so stupid. And then fucking Brad Pitt's character taking like 3 bolt action rifle shots, because that's going to be a stronger and more accurate shot to the torso. A German weapon, no less. Because if there is one really good thing the Germans had in World War II besides their Luftwaffe, until our Mustangs came into the skies, it was their weapons. It was like their infantry kind of weapons, because their tanks got outplayed by the Russian tanks. They were just better and more durable, and I think they hit harder. And their planes just weren't as fast and as agile as our planes were. So we outdid them in the skies, and the Russians outdid them with the armor. But like, so I'm the violence thing, I mean, it is what it is. I kind of prefer it, because if you have people dying and exploding, I think you should really make it as accurate as possible. And people kind of need to understand when they're playing something, enjoying it, sure, but I don't know, to me, I just enjoy it more when it's more realistic. That's one of the reasons why I like World at War so much. Call of Duty World at War. Blow somebody up, or you hit them in the limb with a shotgun, their arms or leg is just gone, or their head. It's crazy. But there's a lot of the little things is what they did good at. That's the funny part. A lot of the little writing that they did, just generally, for the most part of the game, was really good. But the big stuff pertaining to the characters was just so fucking bad and terrible. And even Tommy's character becomes an asshole by the end of the game. His... I can't even say it's understandable. Because I would say... I almost said it's understandable because of what he went through. But then I remember all those years of when he was with Joel and what he did with him. And how he was still a pretty good guy by the end of the first Last of Us. But by the end of this game, because he loses an eye and he gets his leg fucked up. And he lost his brother. All of a sudden, he just becomes this big asshole. And it's like, what? Really? It just doesn't fit his character. Like, these characters from the first game, they don't act the same. Ellie, Tommy, and Joel, they just don't act the same. I'd even go so far as to say Maria, but you're not really all that familiar with her anyways from the first game. The game's terrible. Simple as that. People can buy it if they want. I wouldn't suggest buying it. Because you buy The Last of Us for its story. You buy Doom for its gameplay. You buy Saints Row for its fucking wackiness. You buy certain games for certain things you can do in it. Like, people don't buy Grand Theft Auto because of its story. People don't buy Battlefield because of its story. They buy it for its, you know, multiplayer. How fun it is. So when people start using the excuses of why people generally don't buy a game and try to say, well, this is why you should buy it. Like, if they say the story's so good in Doom, even though the gameplay's shit, you should get it because of the story. Like, that's stupid. Oh, you should get Battlefield because of the campaign is so good, and even though the multiplayer is dog shit, you should still get it. That's stupid. You should get The Last of Us because of how good the gameplay or graphics or animation looks, but the story is dog shit. That is stupid. It's just terrible. I can't remember everything. I should have wrote it down, but at the same time, I just wanted to experience the story and just kind of watch it on YouTube. Or not experience it, but yeah, just watch it. It's just so bad. Top to bottom. Like... it's just terrible. Also, I'm a little bit upset that this little fucking challenge is there because I wanted to see people's names going by. Oh, there it is. Anthony Diaz. Jeez, that dude got blasted. Factions Part 2, if they do make it, it's gonna be trash. I'm just laughing at all the people, though. There's so many people that are like the main Reddit for The Last of Us. They've gone into meltdown mode. Like, I'm serious. They've gone into a fucking full-blown meltdown mode over this game and how bad it is. It's so bad. They're just mostly deleting posts and comments and everything because they don't want to show how much of the player base actually think the game is dog shit. It's just absolute dog shit, really. It does the little things good. But the big story, plot devices, how characters act, and all this other shit, it's just terrible. I mean, jeez, they honestly ruined Ellie for me. They ruined her. They fucking made Joel a bumbling fucking idiot with his brother, and then they made just Ellie this heartless bitch who just has no love or compassion for other people. Like, she doesn't even give a shit about Dina in the game. Like, she's pregnant and she still wants to go after Abby, even though she really needs to go home to get some medical attention to make sure, the pregnancy goes well. They're like, there's obviously like some complications happening to her, and Ellie doesn't care. And then when they go back home and she's thinking about it, Abby, she leaves Dina and the baby to go after Abby. Like, Ellie just becomes this just bitch. And also, I just want to point out one thing. They fucking retconned pretty much the ending of The Last of Us. Because, for one, the doctor you kill, he's like Hispanic or black or something, but he's like really dark skinned. Because he does not look white, like, at all, really. And then they make him white. They make him really white. It's stupid. But then they also try to make it seem like as if Ellie didn't know that Joel was lying and that she only went along with him because she believed his lie. And it was like, dude, like, there's the reaction that you had. Like, you wouldn't ask somebody to swear to you that what they're saying is true. If you believe them, you would just believe them. You wouldn't really be swearing that to them. Unless it's like, I don't even know. But the way she acted in the car when, like, Joel and Ellie were, when Joel was driving Ellie off after he got done murdering Marlene. Like, her reaction to that, you could say is just upset. I don't know if she doesn't believe him or not, but she's just upset. But when she says swear to me, it's because she doesn't fucking believe him. The way she looks into his eyes and the way she kind of just looks around a little bit, like where it looks down and then looks back into his eyes, that's her just accepting the lie and just saying, you know, sure, I'll go on this with you. I'll accept what my life will be now. Because that's the whole point of what Joel was trying to fucking, like, just saying his message, saying, you find something else to fight for. You keep going. You keep fighting. Because he knew what Ellie was trying to say. And that's why he said, I know that's not what you want to hear. Because he knew that Ellie didn't... She kind of wanted to sacrifice herself just so all the people that she cared about in The Last of Us, which was her friend. I forgot her friend's name in the DLC. And Sam and Henry and Tess, they wouldn't have died. She didn't want anyone else to suffer. But Joel kind of was just telling her indirectly, but pretty directly, like, you should always find something else to fight for. You should keep living. You shouldn't just want to, like, give up. Because if you're ready to just die, that is a lot like giving up. And that's where she kind of just was just like, alright. And that's where I guess she wanted to know, like, am I going to commit my life with you then? Because why else would she say, swear to me, if she didn't believe him? And then The Last of Us Part 2, they made it seem like she did believe him, like, and she was like, oh my god, you lied to me? That's not the truth? Like, no shit. She knew it was a lie. She knew it was a fucking lie. She just knew. She knew it was a lie. Why? Who the fuck else says swear to me that you're telling the truth? Who does that? Nobody. The only time people do that is if they think you're lying. That's really it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna get The Last of Us Part 2. I don't think I'm gonna get any new Naughty Dog game now at this point. Shouldn't even waste my money on Uncharted 4. That turned out to be trash. But alright. Still not playing this shit.